The Syracuse Landmark Preservation Board meeting of August 1st, 2024. Good morning.
Good morning.
Present at the meeting are
Trish.
Nicole Fragnito.
Julia Marshall,
Jeff Romano.
Hillary Donahue.
Bob Searing.
Kate Aueter, and I would like to welcome Bob to the board. It's his first meeting.
It is.
He is
Welcome.
the curator of history for the OHA, and so he and Jeff will be able to give us an avalanche give us that historic context in an avalanche-y kind of way.
welcome.
Nice to be with you.
Okay, may I have a motion to accept the minutes of July 11th?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any modifications? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? The minutes are adopted.
I guess abstentions. 'Cause,
You're,
I wasn't.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, the board will now conduct public hearings on today's agenda, and we don't have any
We
public
don't
hearings.
have any. Right.
Okay, so I can skip all of that. And Kate,
just
would
go
you like
straight to
to
the- yep.
introduce?
So the first item on today's agenda is a minor site plan review for 701 South Geddes Street, a storefront remodel. The property is on the, or rather, it's eligible for the National Register of Historic Places, which is why it's coming before us. Just so that you're aware, in your staff reports, you'll see I have provided some less recent images of the building. After I distributed those packets, though, it did come to my attention, one of my colleagues in Neighborhood and Business Development, that the work had already been completed. And now I understand it was at least a year ago, perhaps, that that the work was completed. It was funded, the storefront renovations were funded through ARPA dollars, the American Rescue Plan dollars. And there had been some confusion with applicants about the permitting and review process. I know at our last meeting with the Lock Alley building, there was also, they had started work prior to getting all the requisite.
What was the name of they gave them the funding?
The funding is ARPA, the American Rescue Plan.
Oh.
I can't remember what the final A stands
Business
for.
plan.
Yeah. However, beyond the storefront renovations, and we do have images of the renovations themselves, the owner also painted the entire building was dark gray. So the board's role is to comment. I think that this would be comment, obviously, back to zoning. And then if there's, I would recommend that you start with the storefront designs, and we can certainly look at, we do have images which I can show you. And we'll go from there. And the comment will be sent, as I said, back to zoning and the codes department.
Since this work has already been done, do we have an image of the new storefront?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, a better image? Yep. Because these storefronts are articulated where they have a recessed door, it looks.
The original.
The original ones, they have the, Thank you.
Beautiful picture. Not all of them have been, not all of these
Renovated?
have been. No, not
This
all
is
of them.
that same
There
storefront.
there's at least one, I think, for the barber shop that is still.
So that image there matches the image in our packet?
No.
That's the corner of the building with the fence.
yeah, that-
This one here.
Oh,
That's
yes.
that storefront, just for compare and contrast. Does that meet code for today with the outswing of that door out into the public sidewalk? Right, I mean, yeah, that's, the door set in like that historically allowed for the door to swing out without impeding traffic on the sidewalks?
I think it would, the question is, where's the property line? Because if the door is swinging beyond the property line, that's the issue.
Is it,
Into
okay.
this- into the
Property
right of
line
way.
or is
Into the
it
right of way,
into-
yeah.
Into the
okay.
right of way, and more than likely, it was recessed, the doors were recessed so that they wouldn't be in the property line.
Right, and the historic articulation of that setback door with the
I mean-
glazing proud
Yeah.
and no mullions in it. These were large storefront panels. And now we have basically those large windows split in half with a center mullion. So that's a major departure from
I
the original storefronts.
think yeah, I'm just looking at the images.
So
I'm not
there
sure if
was
those
a
are-
band across the top, a horizontal band where now they have the 5, what I'll call transom windows. But originally, there was a solid band on either side of the recess to articulate a scale. And that scale is gone. I mean, one of the things I'll point out is that the drawing that was in our packet needs to be corrected, because there are inconsistencies in terms of head height of windows. It appears from one of your earlier photos that the corner existing that has not been changed is at one height, and then the rest is at another height, but in the drawings, A, B, C, even A, B, C, D, E, plus the existing are showing one head height of the storefront, and it's inconsistent with the rest, so I'm not sure what is actually correct.
Is it right? Yeah.
I guess my comment is that it's unfortunate that the building was painted.
I think it probably impacts its eligibility as well, in terms of, because it's not easy to remove.
Well, if it was
gray
done
paint.
correctly, you know, you have a certain type of paint for a brick surfacing, it's got to be prepped and done correctly for it to stick and stay. And then typically painting a brick is a detriment because you're going to hold the moisture and it's not going to be able to breathe.
And the brick will
So,
start to fall.
Just start to spall and fall apart. Is it noted that this is a King and King structure? It was designed by King and King Architects?
Is that right?
Yes.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Originally.
Originally, so we should put that in the record. It's a King and King structure from 1919, designed as a bakery. And obviously with a major presence in South Geddes Street with these storefronts, and we've changed the entire dialogue of those storefronts with this new installation that's not cohesive with the historic building.
The panels up in the openings on the second floor were also replaced. It was just like plywood boards painted before, and they replaced it with this metal.
It looks like metal. Yeah, covering up the original double-hung windows or the window openings there in the second floor.
Well, do we know when that change happened in terms of the upper windows?
At the same time, they were doing all of this. Oh, when they
Well,
replaced the windows.
right.
Windows, yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just looking at the, yeah, I think, looking at the street view, it's been, those windows have
Boarded.
been
Yeah.
boarded over for some time.
Oh, comment,
So the comment is.
incongruent
Yeah.
storefront with historic building. Scale of new storefront, not represented via historic openings. I'm trying to put the words together.
And they painted over the name of the bakery. I mean,
Yeah.
both both icons from the bakery, the K, the name of the Falafels Bakery. I mean, it's, you wouldn't know what the building is. And it's been an anchor of that neighborhood since it was built. I find it upsetting, to put it mildly.
The bakery name, actually, which is on the
Shawner
Shawner side, I think that's a tile, too. isn't
Yeah,
It's
it
not
was
a
tile.
Yeah. It's still there, the tile is still there.
Yeah,
but
they
it
just
is-
painted over it.
Painted over.
Painted over it.
And in fact, if it's a glazed tile, which more than likely it is, it probably, the paint can be removed without damaging the glazed tile. On the other hand, the brick, I think it would be destroyed if you tried to
Tried to remove it.
Well, because the chemicals that are used to remove paint from brick is fairly caustic.
That's it. So, okay, I'll send, I don't think that there's anything, but, beyond.
I would say that for the existing that remain, that they remain with, in terms of the storefronts, with the inset recessed doors, and I believe that the reason they're recessed is because of the lot line. Urban buildings generally like this would be on the lot line.
I would agree to that.
Now, forgive me, my friends, because I am new and I'll be learning a lot. The individuals responsible for this, is there any recourse? Are there fines to be paid when you just move forward in a process without?
That, the comment that we'll send back to zoning, they should be in discussion with codes.
Okay.
My understanding is that the property owner this is not his only, not their only property within the city, and I think that just the continued improvement of conversation between, and dialogue and communication between departments, and making sure that one hand is working with the other in terms of the city departments is crucial. So,
So this designation was in 2020? Am I trying to understand that right, as far as it being historic?
that it was found eligible?
Yeah.
It probably was determined eligible prior to that, but it was reconfirmed in 2020 as part of a reconnaissance level
Would
survey.
the owners of the building know that?
That's a good question. Probably not.
So that's,
That's another
the root
piece.
causes in all
Yeah.
this is, as we go forward on all the historic properties, of trying to help people understand what their responsibilities are.
Sorry,
It's-
absolutely.
It's very
I
important.
agree. Yep.
It's almost as if it's possible that once a building is deemed eligible or listed, it goes on their tax bill, the owner's tax bill, and it's very clear that they understand that. And, I don't know what the
That's important.
mechanism is
It's good to know.
to do that, but the owner needs to know.
That they have
I mean, just like
Some sort of outreach.
Yeah.
Something, I mean, just like we've had conversations with realtors in terms of the real estate board, in terms of informing prospective owners that they're potentially buying a house in a historic district. If they're not informed ahead of time, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And somehow there needs to be a follow-through. I don't know what the mechanism is.
Yep.
From a government point of view, but,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Would you like to introduce the next one?
Oh,
Since we are skipping
Yes.
over.
Yeah, so just so everyone knows, I did send everyone an email last night or yesterday afternoon, but the project plan application Z2870 for 727 Comstock Avenue, the new dormitory, has been withdrawn by the applicant.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Well-
that.
Sorry, the next application, the project plan review for 727 Comstock Ave, has been withdrawn by the,
Technically,
by
I
the
don't think
applicant.
they withdrew based on Mira's email that they don't want it at this meeting. They've
Right,
asked us
they,
to
they
wait.
just,
They
they
haven't really
asked, they
withdrawn
asked
the
us
application.
or rather, they asked that it not be presented this morning. Yeah, that's correct. Which leads us then on to a lead agency request. The board is, as you'll see, is in receipt of a letter from the City Planning Commission requesting that the SLPB consent to allow the CPC, the Planning Commission, to act as lead agency for the environmental review related to this adaptive reuse of the former Lipe Rollway Corporation building. It's going to be rehabilitated to become the new public safety building. They did provide the plans there, but at this point, it will be coming to the board as a major site plan review down the line. So at this point, just for the, so that the CPC can move on with the environmental review, they are looking for the board's consent to be the lead agency. So, and I would recommend that you allow your consent to that.
In my opinion, they can be lead
Yeah,
agents.
yeah, that's right.
So moved.
So,
We didn't
Please,
vote, but
the
that's a
answer is
comment.
please
And
be.
if anyone else has a dissenting comment, speak up.
so I'll just need you to sign that letter that's
Yes,
part of
and
that.
give it back to
and give
you.
it back to me. That would be great. Okay. So with no other concerns about lead agency, we can move into discussion and correspondence. I'll let Julia sign and then. So the next piece of business is the board received a draft nomination for the Montgomery Street Columbus Circle Historic District expansion area. And this, as you may remember, was it 2 meetings ago or even last meeting? Thanks. That the folks at the former Hilton Hotel, Syracuse Hilton, which is now 250 Harrison Street, they're renovating or rehabilitating their property, and they want to use the tax credits. So in order to do that, they determined that the building, or the State Preservation Office said that the building was not individually eligible, but would be eligible as part of an expanded district. So it's actually that development team went and hired a consultant to work with SHPO and developed this National Register nomination. And the nomination increases the boundaries. There's a boundary map in your packets. It about doubles the size. And
much of it to the south.
yeah, pretty much, almost all of it, save maybe 2 properties to the south. It expands the period of significance for the district from ending in 1930 to moving it all the way to 1975. So this is one of our first districts, if not the first district, that is really scooping in some of those mid-century modern buildings that include such gems, actually, as the, oh my goodness, the church, what is the church name? The Prince of Peace, which is really an amazing piece of mid-century modern, the Everson Museum, another real, very important landmark here in the city. Money Towers, talk about a visual landmark. In terms of outreach to the buildings that are, or to the property owners, the State Preservation Office will be formally doing some outreach fairly shortly directly to the property owners. And I also had sent a series of emails to different property owners to inform them of what was coming down the pike, and would they, if they had any questions prior to please let me know. I actually only heard back from one of the property owners, and they're in support. So the communication is very important. So they will be receiving direct mailing, and potentially there'll be a meeting as well. I'm not sure how that would be through the State Historic Preservation Office. But the Preservation Office is asking for the board's comment regarding the nomination. And if you had any concerns, questions, or if you're in support of, and I will communicate those to the State Preservation Office.
I applaud this. It's interesting that some of the buildings that are now included have not previously been included, particularly the Everson Museum and particularly Money Towers. And so I'm in favor of it, but I will let the rest of the board members speak to it. And it's well-written report.
Yeah.
I would second that. I think this is a great expansion and incorporating more modern architecture, that we're moving forward and recognizing these buildings that have been here for 50 years as historic. And so this expansion falls right in line with protecting our historic assets. As we get older, they get older, and we're incorporating them. So I appreciate that.
As do I. I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner. I mean, I think Everson and the Money Towers are sort of iconic structures in the downtown environment, so long overdue.
Howard, any comment? No? Nicole?
I'm in support also.
Okay, great, thanks, and I will send those comments on to the State Preservation Office. So the next item on the agenda is just a quick recap for you of 727. Again, I'm sorry I don't have the revised agenda in front of you. It is posted, so so the Planning Commission met on Monday. You can watch the YouTube video. It was
4 hours.
4 hours worth of, yeah, it was a marathon evening, and I applaud the Planning Commission for holding out for all that time. On behalf of the board, I made a presentation going through the criteria and integrity arguments. The SU, as the property owner, was provided equal time to rebut, and they had a local consultant from Bella Spina come and talk about the condition of the property, and presented their arguments for why it should not be designated. After further discussion and public comment, the commission did unanimously recommend the property for designation, and it now goes on to the Common Council's docket. The work session for it will be next Wednesday at noon, as far as I understand. And I will be there again. I don't know to what extent they'll be hearing any additional comment at this point, but I will be there in case they do have some clarifying questions. So I don't know if anyone has any questions specifically about that, but I do have an addendum as well to add that came up actually yesterday. And that is one thing is, actually it's interesting how streams of thought are coming together. One of the speakers on Monday night was John Durand, who represents one of the fraternities on Comstock, as well as loosely he was there to represent a number of other of the property owners, other Greek affiliated associations. and expressed concern about the loss of the historic significance, well, the potential damage to that neighborhood and the what remains of what used to be several blocks worth of Greek affiliated structures between really the campus and Comstock Avenue. He noted that this was really this between Comstock Avenue, the 700 block of Comstock, the east side of Comstock, and Walnut Place. Those are really the only footprint now that the Greek associations have on the campus, even though it's a very important aspect, I think, in terms of the experience of students there on campus. So anyway, so he spoke and he followed up with me, and we followed up with each other yesterday. I'm going to be speaking to them next week. And I also received yesterday correspondence from Councillor Monto and Councillor Williams requesting that the Landmark Preservation Board consider a potential district on that 700 block, a preservation district on the 700 block. So that was a formal request to explore that possibility. And I think the first step will be the conversation that I have with Mr. Durant and some of the other representatives early next week. And I will we'll see where that goes based on that information, as well as we'll start gathering some of the context for a potential nomination.
When you speak to Mr. Duran, when he spoke Monday night, he presented a book that he found up in Sackett's Harbor. It would be interesting to get a copy, or just the name of it, because it documented, and I was quite interested to know what it was, but it documented some of the properties.
Yeah, I think there's a high chance,
Eternity Road.
there's a high chance, high probability that a number of those other properties, they're about, I should have counted, I think they're about 7 to 10 all told on the block. Not all of them would be considered contributing because of their age and or,
7 and
yeah.
1, I think. One non-contributing.
Well,
Maybe
the
non
one
one.
directly to
but-
the north of 727
Is-
is non-contributing.
would be non-
And I believe is empty at this point.
I'm not sure, but yeah. Yeah, but I anticipate that there'll be some other architect design properties along that block. So
Just as a refresher, this block was left off of the preservation district for the greater Westcott area because why?
because it represented a different history.
Different
Yeah,
his-
different.
okay.
There, it's a different context, which is really related to
More
actually.
streetcar, or streetcar,
Yeah,
trolley car
to
sub
the Westcott and University neighborhood, which is a National Register nomination.
development, yeah.
And what the counselors are asking us to look at is a preservation district. So it would be local for that block. So
Would it be just Comstock block, or would it encompass the,
Walnut Park or something, or?
well, no, the other side of Ostrom, because the east side of Ostrom is part of the residential historic district of the Westcott neighborhood.
right, yeah.
But the west side, which is the property that SU would like to build on.
That
is-
actually had there are no buildings
Right,
left. Those have
There are no
yeah.
buildings left, so.
Yeah, and again, I
so
think
it's
if
gonna
you
be a nice
look
solution.
at the Sanborns, and this is part of the investigation that the exploration that has to take place, but the those properties that were on Ostrom that are now no longer there, those were more facing towards the Westcott University neighborhood,
Right.
and Comstock was built
University
a little bit earlier.
Preeminent block.
Yeah, a little bit earlier, and as I think Sam Gruber had said, the development was just different. He did include a justification for why they were not included. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So we will start that. My office will start that investigation.
Sounds good, thank you.
Yeah.
So we don't know if the Common Council meeting is a public hearing or what form it's going to take? or-
It certainly is it's a public meeting, whether or not they have not called for a public hearing, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a work session.
It'll be a
Okay.
work session.
Study session.
Yeah,
So they can
a
ask
study
questions,
session. Yeah.
but nobody gets up to.
Generally during a work session, you can attend, but I don't believe that you can speak
Unless
they
you're invited to
ask.
do so.
Sorry.
Unless you're invited to do so, that's correct. If
Is that work session here?
Yes, it'll be here at noon, and I can confirm, I believe that is what the plan is for, in terms of them processing the paperwork and getting it on the agenda. I believe it is going that quickly. So if you have a moment more, I did want to show you all one other thing. That this was not on the agenda, but I did want to show you.
In the context of the meeting? So
Yeah,
we
no, it's
shouldn't
fine.
adjourn.
It's
Okay.
fine, because I just wanted to show you some of the, again, perhaps as a thanks to your service for the city and all that you do. I did also want to show you the results of the discussion that happened here regarding the Gateway project, which I know, Jeff, you and I had discussed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What is the Gateway project?
Get that answer in just a minute.
So if you'll remember, this is the project for Fayette and.
Almond.
And which one?
Almond.
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 Almond. Okay. This was the very original discussion, which never came to the board. This was just and the reason this project word was right next to 711 East Fayette Street, which is the okay. So when you all saw it, this was the original proposal. This was the proposal brought to the board. And after reviewing the entire project, the issue was what's going on right here. So really looking at this.
Is it right up against the church?
There's a height from there.
So it's about 11 feet. 11 to 13 feet, I believe, was the approximate.
Well, no, actually, let me go back to this.
Reveal of forgotten.
So the discussion was perhaps about providing something like they had on this one.
Right.
So goes to the architects. I wish I had a clicker. I'm sorry, I don't have a clicker. I just forgot. Anyway, what they ended up doing It's still a massive project.
I was gonna say, it's still massive.
Still massive. But I think that it does provide some.
There you go. Yeah, that's,
So it's better.
that is a major improvement that, as Kate said, that came from this board, and these are direct results of those conversations and the value that we have as a board here, sitting here on our historic properties, and this is a direct result of our actions. So this is, to me, this is a huge success story for preservation in Syracuse, in relation to existing historic buildings, so. Energize, energize it a little bit.
It's energized.
It's stabilized, it's got a roof on it, it's got windows in it,
It looks fabulous.
and it's plodding
It
forward.
is ready to move forward. So anyway, thank you again.
To you folks.
And it's one of the things I'd like to start doing too, is just showing this is
results
what
of our
the results,
efforts.
and sometimes they'll be good, sometimes they may not be so good, but I think it's worth seeing when there's that significant a change. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
that's all I have.
Well done.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
A second? Second. All in favor?
We are adjourned.
We are adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.